Hi there. Before we dive in, I want to let you in on something new. For years, Paper Napkin Wisdom has been about capturing one powerful idea on the back of the napkin. Now, we're stepping into what I call the edge of the napkin, where ideas don't just sit, they move. This is where wisdom meets action and where small sparks ignite real change. Let's get started.
Welcome to Paper Napkin Wisdom, where we share pearls of wisdom shared by some of the world's top entrepreneurs, leaders, and difference makers. Here's your host, Govindh Jayaraman.
Hi, I'm Govindh Jayaraman, and this is Paper Napkin Wisdom, episode 289. And again, we're doing something different with this series called Edge of the Napkin. This is the second episode in the series. Have you ever noticed how some days everything feels like friction? Like you're pushing up against resistance at every turn, while other days, things just move effortlessly, in flow. And have you ever wondered what makes the difference? On today's napkin, I sketch out that very tension, friction versus flow, and introduce two powerful modes of creation. Spark mode, where ideas ignite, and build mode, where those sparks take form and grow. And the real question becomes, which mode are you in right now? As you listen, imagine what would shift if you could recognize and even choose your mode. What would happen if you leaned into the flow that's already waiting for you? What if the friction you feel was actually a signal pointing the way forward? That's what today's conversation is all about. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to Edge of the Napkin, where ideas on the napkin turn into action. And this is the bold part of our podcast. I really appreciate you joining me here today. I'm excited about having you with me. And today we're going to talk about energy cadence and really talk about friction versus flow. So think about it this way. Most of the friction in our life isn't about time or effort. It's really about working against our natural energy cadence. It's sort of like that idea where you have tried to force productivity and felt resistance. You know, there was a time, for a long time, I thought about restarting the podcast. Talked about that even last week, where it took me a long time to get to the place where I was going to restart Paper Napkin Wisdom. Tossed and turned over it for essentially 3 or 4 months. And I was gestating the idea in that time. The actual restarting of it took an instant. And that's the difference between the two types of energy that I'm talking about here today. And it's the natural rhythm of our creative and energetic flows and how they will vary from time to time based on what's required, based on what's needed, based on what we're doing. So let's talk about the two cadences. What are they? Well, the seminal cadence is short, spiky bursts of energy. Think about it as being ideal for initiating things, ideas, sprints, breakthroughs. Its strength is sparking ignition, novelty, energy. But the shadow side of it, the other side of that, is burnout if you stay there too long. There's only so long that you can pull all-nighters and get something through. And, you know, the more gray that appears either on your face or on your head, the slower or the longer in between those gaps, those all-nighters will become. The gestational cadence, on the other hand, is like this longer, slower build. It's ideal for developing ideas, nurturing people, systems, or better yet, habits, your own habits, changing habits, moving toward things. And its strength is endurance, depth, stability. But on the shadow side, you can feel pretty slow in a fast-paced world when you're thinking about things that way, and can get frustrated if you compare yourself to others and what pace they're using at that particular time. And the napkin sort of shows the idea between those two energy curves and what it feels like, sparks versus growth. Now, here's the friction. The friction is really not about being in seminal energy when you need it or gestational energy when you need it, but fighting against the natural cadence that you happen to be in and then beating yourself up about it. So people in gestational cycles beat themselves up for not moving fast enough. People in seminal cycles get frustrated when forced to pace themselves. So we don't burn out because we work hard. We burn out because we work against our natural energy cycles. So aligning with our cadence means less self-judgment, smoother progress, sustainable growth. And it actually fits a rhythm that aligns well with most actual growth curves. But it's about noticing where you are first. So that's where you start. That's step one, identifying your current cadence. So here's some signs that you might be in a seminal cadence. That is that you are flowing fast. Ideas are going quickly. Excitement is high, and you can't wait to start. You jump out of bed, you jump from idea to idea, and you're running fast. Energy feels electric. You feel like you're on fire. Here's some signs that you're in gestational cadence, on the other hand. Gestational cadence is when you're focusing on refinement, deeper processing. You may be thinking about things in a more detailed or slow manner. Energy feels steady but less flashy. And you might notice people sprinting to finish lines that you can't keep up with. So a simple self-check question could be, am I sparking something new, or am I maturing something already in motion? Am I solving problems with 20 answers, or am I sticking on one answer as I solve things through? So how to work in each one of these cadences is the key to staying in flow. When you're in seminal cadence, when you're in that sparky, energetic phase, capture the spark. And this is really where Paper Napkin Wisdom comes from, like this idea of capturing the spark on a paper napkin. Notebooks, napkin sketches, voice notes, pulling out your phone and taking a few notes right away. But protect against burnout. Short sprints with defined rest. Use Pomodoro technique. Use 20 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 45 minutes on, 15 minutes off. Partner with somebody in a gestational mode for follow through. Because you're starting a lot of ideas, make sure there's someone on the team right there with you to pick up the details and see them through. When you're in a gestational cadence, honor the slowness. Steady work habits and blocks, rituals and rhythms. Make sure that you're starting on time and ending on time. Make sure that you're protecting against impatience. Track your progress with micro wins. Partner with somebody in seminal mode for an injection of fresh energy, right? Move things around. Surround yourself with the opposite energy that you have to bring some of that in, not to compare against and find friction, but to complement and co-create together. So here's how you can bring it all together as a leader or within any model where you can integrate these ideas into your team. Leaders often misread their team's cadence. I've been guilty of that over the years. They expect predominantly gestational workers to produce these big bursts of energy and overlook the value of strong, long, steady, stable progress around metrics and goals that are appropriate for that person. Great leaders, on the other hand, align the project to the people's cadence. Put sprinters on innovation, put steady builders on development and scaling, and that helps you put the right people in the right place at the right time. And because it's a cadence, that doesn't mean that people in a gestational stage will stay there their entire lives or their entire careers within your organization. They may move about. So check in on them, see what they're bringing you, and that gives you a sense of where they might go. The right cadence in the wrong role creates chaos. The right cadence in the right role creates magic. So here's the bottom line, or the end of it all. There are two cadences, but both are essential. The win is not picking one as the winner or loser. It's knowing which one you're in and aligning with it. So this week, notice your energy cadence. Are you in the seminal spark mode or the gestational build mode? What's one shift that you can make to align your work with it? Stop fighting your energy and start aligning with it. And that's how you can get to flow. So let's wrap up this whole thing again. Remember, if you feel like your brain has two modes, sprint like a caffeinated squirrel or slow like dial-up internet, you will understand that being in the opposite of what life demands will put you in a state of friction. We think that burnout comes from working too hard, but really it's from working against our natural cadence. Trying to force creativity when you're drained makes you feel guilty because your pace doesn't match someone else's. And teams burn out because leaders misread their energy rhythm. So this isn't about working harder. It's about finding flow instead of finding friction. Define what energy cadence you are in. Seminal cadence is ignition, sparks, and short bursts. Think about it as like electricity. Gestational cadence is development, slow build, nurturing, farming. Introducing these ideas to your team allows you to understand when you're creating friction, or when you're forcing gestational when you're in seminal, or vice versa, or if you're in flow when you're in alignment, matching your cadence to the task. So, how you put it all together? Identify your cadence, match your task to cadence, and prevent friction. So, what if instead of pushing through friction, you could shift into flow? What would your work feel like? Your leadership, your relationships. Imagine assigning projects by cadence, sprints to sprinters, builds to builders. And what if burnout wasn't inevitable, but just a signal that you're out of sync? What if success was less about grinding time or energy and more about honoring your rhythm? So, here's your call to action. This week, don't push harder, listen closer. Ask, am I in spark mode or build mode? Then shift the work to fit the situation. Stop fighting friction and start choosing flow. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Paper Napkin Wisdom, Edge of the Napkin, where we explore what it means to live beyond the napkin and into action. Today, we looked at the tension between friction and flow, and we uncovered two powerful creative modes: spark mode, where ideas ignite, and build mode, where those sparks are nurtured into reality. And here are the key takeaways. Friction isn't failure, it's feedback. Flow is the alignment of energy and intention. Spark modes create. Build modes sustain. Energy moves in seasons, and we need both types. And transformation happens at that edge. And now, here's the question for you. Are you in spark mode or build mode? What happens when you write that down, even on a napkin, and let it guide your choices today? If this episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to Paper Napkin Wisdom wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave a review, and most importantly, share it, gift it with someone who might need to hear it. And here's my challenge. Grab a napkin, jot down whether you're in spark mode or build mode, and share it online with the hashtag Paper Napkin Wisdom. Because when you share, you inspire others to reflect too. Remember, small ideas can become big results if you bring them to life beyond the edge of the napkin. Until next time, stay at the edge and stay in the wisdom. Make it a great day.